Good evening, students. This is Professor Estrada with your Week 2 video lecture. At any point, if my video cuts off, there will be a part 2, so that way you can follow along with it. But I'm going to go ahead and start. I am recording this a couple of days early, so that way you're able to see it. And we're going to go ahead and begin. On the home page of the class, I trust that you've been able to navigate Week 1 without any interruption. At any point, if you have any questions, let me know. So on the home page, we have the announcements. This is really well to be laid out for students that need to know what we're doing for the week, important due dates, and such. Feel free to look at these at your leisure, as this class is an online full 16-week course. The course is divided into weekly folders. On my right side tab, I have my information. You are more than welcome at any time to email me, correspond. One thing that I will mention is the work to do in calendar. These are great to dive into the system and know what we're doing for the week, but without any prior knowledge, it's kind of hard to know what the due dates are specifically. I will say that whenever you're looking at these, even if you click on something, it may give you the extra days that are allotted in this class. Things are due Sunday night, so the class opens up Monday morning to Sunday. You are also welcome to turn in stuff late with a deduction point. I'm gonna go ahead and start. I am recording this from a classroom, so I'm gonna go ahead and figure this out. I'm clicking on the content page so that we can dive in. The week 1 folder already stated that we were introduced to specific things, and we're gonna be looking solely at week 2. Now week 2, we're gonna be introduced to our first essay. There may be things in here that I might go over extensively. And again, if there is a part 2 to this video, I'll make sure to have that ready for you. So we have week 2, don't mind this. It just says that it's hidden from you, but as soon as I fix it, you'll be able to see it. So week 2, we have a couple of things that we're looking at. I opened up the folder, so you have to click and unclick it. And it has right here that you are first introduced to Unit 1, which is the summary and response essay. And just the essay instructions are in here and all of its content. We have the lecture slides. We have a document that I would like you to use. Article readings in conjunction with discussion board number 2. So it says to skim this to be able to complete with discussion board 2. You're also going to be looking at the They Say I Say text, and you're going to be beginning to read the They Say I Say text with a journal, and I'll show you where that's at. So when it says They Say I Say, you have to click on the module itself that's above the folders and actually read the pages that are within here. So if it says to read pages 1 through 16, or if you're scrolling, it shows you where, and then you complete the journal. And then we have right here the summary and response essay instructions. We also have, I included in the outline for students that need a visual aid on how to begin this essay. And because this is an introduction class to writing and MLA, whether you're familiar with it or not, I'll be looking at some of these resources for you. We have Purdue OWL, which is an excellent website in showing you why we cite and how to cite specifically in an academic paper. We have JSTOR as an actual database that you may find sources in. We also have through the Hill College hundreds of databases that have been allocated for our format, and you are also able to find something in there. So I'll be able to have that for you. And then I have a PDF that shows you step-by-step guide in diving into these sources. So not only will you get this visually, you'll be able to have this as a handout. And then of course I have the word count link. The word count link is just a simple link that counts your words for a discussion board in case you need them. And then it says week 2, because this is a 16-week course, week 2 content, which would be just the journal and discussion board number 2, are due Sunday, September 6th. Okay, and then it says that on the homepage that the calendar or to-do list may state 4 days later. Always refer to what the syllabus says. And then after that, it's just late points. Reminder, this is a 16-week full term, so each week you are doing things in the folder, not just by unit. And then it just goes ahead and gives you a heads up of when your first essay is expected and due. Essay 1's not due until Sunday, September 27th at 11:59. This essay will require a works cited page. So even if you are not familiar with it or just need help, between now and then is a good time to reach out to me. It also says failure to not turn in by this time will automatically be 25 points taken off. Failure to not turn in by Thursday, October 1st at 11:59 will result in a 0. You can use a late pass or an extension. I'll be glad enough to give you those, but you have to let me know by Sunday, September 27th at 10 p.m. This is an essay that you are turning in electronically in the week 5 folder. You are not sending me through an email attachment or other. It has to be turned in the week 5 folder module for you to even begin to look at grades. All right, so we have the week 2 folder, and let's go ahead and look at the slides. These slides are as if we were in class and I'd be presenting to you. I'll take you a snippet. This is a classroom, and I'm just presenting to you the slides as if we were in a classroom. These are our week 2 slides. Let me see if I can zoom out a little bit. To-do list for week 2, we're going to look at the online contents. We're going to be introduced to the summary and response essay, the instructions and the lecture, the navigation of the Hill College database and JSTOR journal article specifics. So here is the online folder, just as I mentioned it, the week 2 slides that you're looking at right now. You're going to read They Say, I Say pages 1 through 16. Complete a journal. You're going to be looking at an article reading. This document is just article links, and discussion board number 2 is just asking you to summarize a couple of those in your own words, and I'll go over that here in a minute. Week 2 folder, online is due Sunday, September 6th. Okay. Also, continuation of the week 2 folder online is the introduction of essay 1, summary and response. It has the outline and it has the resources that you would need. Okay. So it says right here that one of the best and effective ways to become a better writer is to become a better reader. We go from simple sentences to complex sentences to whole paragraphs to complete essays. The point of an essay is that each paragraph acts like a slice of pie and each work together. Each slice is comprised of words that work together. As writers, our writing is either forced or unpolished. A different approach will give us a different direction. To become better, we must get back to the basics. For many, we have a hard time understanding summaries or what we're truly reading. It makes us read and read the passages repeatedly. One of the best ways to write is to not overthink. Just do. The best writers have authentic voice. This class is to help you find yours. One of the difficult things of writing is not knowing where to start. It is easy to start writing if you know what you're writing about, and this first essay is supposed to help you. So our first essay is a summary and response essay. What is a summary and response essay? Sorry if it's a little wacky. This type of essay will require you to examine the given sources and identify the relationship of your thesis. It can be used as a tool to summarize ideas, theories, and sources. It can be used as an approach for an entire essay or even paragraphs. A summary and response essay summarizes the sources so that the reader gets a sense of key elements in the work and responds to it. These are some lecture notes for the summary and response essay. An effective writer will use the summary and respond method in their work by doing the following. You're going to evaluate the material and read it thoroughly. You'll understand the material and be able to summarize it in your own words. Be able to state facts, reason, examples, personal experiences when you respond to it. Demonstrate if you agree or disagree with the author, and increase the reader's understanding. Now, because we don't know what the specifics of that instructions are of this essay, it's good for us to at least understand what this type of essay does. This type of essay will ask you to do 2 things. You will give a definite summary of the article of any topic of your choosing. It will ask you to contain main points and quotes to support the summary. It will also ask you to evaluate or critique the article, and where you use your opinions to examine the strengths. So you're doing 2 things. You're summarizing and responding in that same way. Structure of your essay. Establish your topic to shape your essay. Since you are choosing the topic, what you are doing speaks to you. Your source will be the only source you use. Make sure it's a good one. Become familiar with it. If it is one you're having trouble with, try another one. Steps on writing the essay. Choose your topic. So you get to choose your topic, but because your source has to talk about your topic, make sure it's a good one. Find and read one source and begin major points. Make an outline. Whether assigned in class or not, begin drafting. Obviously, this is part of the writing process. Make sure to use quotes from your sources to back up your thesis. Create a works cited page for your sources. And peer review draft sessions if need be, especially in an online class or in person. We go through multiple drafts. And then finally, the last step is to usually turn and paper in. We look at this as a preface, whether it's an online class or in person, that sometimes these steps don't happen and sometimes they do, but oftentimes the writing process is always completed. Now, because your essay is going to be specifically tailored to one author and what that one author says, be sure to look at how you would present their words. So if an author said, the author said, that gets repeated a lot. I challenge you to use some of these words instead of the word said. The author believes, the author alleges, the author suggests in this work. These are linking words that will help you polish and perfect your paper in another way. We understand that when you structure your essay to quote, you want to make sure that you have control of your paper. Look at your source. Do you agree or disagree with what the topic is about? Other things to consider are, discuss the author's knowledge on the topic. Do you think the author has an understanding? One of the key elements to consider is, why are you choosing this topic? We should know, by the understanding of a 1301 class or other classes, is that whenever we introduce quotes within a paper, we're giving credit to the author. So we can use quotes within our paper, and this paper is going to ask us of that. It's going to say direct quotes in an essay have the speaker's exact words placed in quotation marks. Use direct quotes when a quote is powerful or strong. Indirect quotes have no quotation marks, but they still are cited. Remember the rule, 70% of it should be your words while 30% be quotes. And this is a type of quotation example. It shows you how it is quoted with quotation marks and other, and we'll be implementing that within our paper. In an academic paper, and there'll be resources on this, there is a works cited page. The works cited page is the last page of the essay that cites sources. We use the format MLA, Modern Language Association, to cite, and there are specific ways to cite something. So if I were to tell you that from a YouTube video I heard Morgan Freeman donated money, how is that specific? How is that reputable? I can cite it in my paper. I can cite where I found it, so that way if someone was looking up something, they can verify it. This is how a works cited page will look like on the last page. Each of these indentations show you that a specific source was used. They are alphabetical. They tell you if they're electronic or a book or a journal, what have you, down to volume, page. It's beautiful. For this class, we only need one, and we'll follow that academic source, and we'll show you how. Okay? And then it says right here that here in a minute, I'm going to show you to open up journals and databases and how these are found. At any point, reach out to me. So because we have the understanding of what the summary and response essay is, now let's look at the instructions. I'm closing out, and I'm going to go ahead and show you the essay instructions, and then I'll show you what the assignments are. So here are the instructions for our first essay. This is a 1301 16-week class. For this assignment, you will write a summary and response thesis-driven essay in which you describe and summarize an academic journal with a topic of your choosing. Just let me know within a couple of days. I tend to be okay with any topic that's chosen. You just may have to be specific if you have to be more broader in your terminology. The text that you're going to be looking at is one academic journal from the Hill College Library. There are some here listed, but any academic database found within Hill College or JSTOR is acceptable. The journal where you find the source, so we know that there's online databases, which are online libraries, that there's journals or books. Within those books, you would have to find a specific article that talks about something. That specific article needs to be 2000 to present. Please don't find something from 1970, 1980. Must have at least one author. It has to be an actual article, not an abstract or a summary. And it has to come from an academic journal. The principal structures of this essay is to be able to look at a speaker's primary argument or claim, the types of evidence that the speaker uses, and be able to look at delivery, expectation, and evidence. Since you're responding to an article or finding, you should also consider the writer's tone, research, and use of supplementary resources. Note that a successful writer-reader does not offer analysis or argument, but informs us what strategies are being used. Your audience for this essay are the readers of the classroom. You're informing them of this topic if we've never heard about it or if we need more in depth about it. The purpose and outcome of this assignment is to break down and analyze the context in a primary text and then arrange them in an academic way. You might go through revisions and edits from start to finish so that it's grammatically sound. We're going to provide effective feedback and possible peer review questions, whether self-paced or not. And we begin looking at their writing process. We're also going to evaluate the effectiveness of the article in relation to the topic. So here's where the nitty-gritty is for this essay. You are typing this essay. It can be started on Google Docs, Microsoft Word, however, but it is going to be an electronic essay. Times New Roman size 12. It is going to adhere to double-spaced 1-inch margins, proper indented paragraphs, and a proper works cited page. And I'll show you here in a minute where we can find resources for that. This essay will contain a works cited page. You are citing the one source that you have. Failure to not do so will deem the essay unacceptable and a 0 will be given. MLA conventions, page numbering, please include a title. The essay length is just 1.5 pages to 2.5. There's no word count specified for this essay. Please include your name at the very top. Your name first and last, the course name and section, my name, and the date. The criterion rubric for this essay will be as follows. It'll be a thesis-driven paper supported by evidence. It'll include peer review workshops and go through the writing process. So here are some tips on doing a summary and response essay. The first thing to do is read and study the text under analysis. Based off your reading, you must pinpoint the initial claim in the text. In other words, gain an understanding. Then try to develop a specific claim. Look at what the author's saying. Do you agree or disagree? How well does it work with your topic? And why did you choose it? And then I have criteria right here if you want to go back and look at the rubric for how I would grade this essay. I'm looking at how well you present specific details, your academic context, your focus, your introduction, conclusion, your structure, and mechanics. Notice the due date. Essay 1 is due no later than Sunday, September 27th by 11:59 p.m. Then it tells you that after that I deduct points, but after that 4th day, it is a 0. Again, you can use a late pass, but it has to be sent to me on the day that it's due by 10 o'clock for it to be taken effect. It's okay if you miss the due date, I just deduct points after that. But this is an essay that's electronically submitted to me in the week 5 folder. I will not accept anything that's an email attachment or web link. It has to be submitted in its module. So the question here is that you are going to get to choose your own topic. That's great. Immigration reform, public homeschool, whatever the topic is, but our source has to come from a database, let alone a specific academic journal. How do we do that? So I'll show you here in a minute. Not only that, when it comes to the instructions of this essay, I included an outline. For so many people, it's just easy to go in and write, but for some, you need a visual aid of sorts that helps you understand what's going to go in every paragraph. We ought to know that every paragraph will be a standard essay, introduction paragraphs, and the body paragraphs, whatever the teacher's asking for in those requirements, and then a conclusion paragraph. So I included this outline for you. You are more than welcome to look at it. Use it as you see fit, but it is very helpful. We know that we have the introduction, introduce the topic. Why did you choose the topic? Why is it important to you? Now, I'm not going to be asking for an outline anytime soon for anything like this, but it does help you start your paper. Body paragraph. This body paragraph summarizes the article. This paragraph can be used exclusively to summarize the article. What makes it significant? What points does it bring? You can use this paragraph to show its importance towards the topic. Tell me in vivid detail, what are some key points that this article highlights? Your source has to talk about your topic. So if your topic is homeschooling, the essay, the source itself has to be pulling in from that. Your next body paragraph, respond to the article. This paragraph can be used to discuss the strengths and weaknesses of the article. What makes it a good article? What makes it an effective one? What points does it include or not mention? What does the author bring to our attention? Is this a realistic source? Critique it. Other body paragraphs. Use this to continue your essay. You can use it to tie back in, and don't forget the conclusion. Wrap up all your points and relay them back here. What can a person take from this topic? Be sure to include at least 2 to 4 quotes, indirect, paraphrased, or direct. So quotes that you're taking from the source and plugging them in. Okay? This is where I'm going to leave part 1 of this video because this is just the instructions and the outline. Part 2 will go up. Oh, it just logged me out. Part 2 is going to go up, and in part 2, I will talk about these resources and everything else.